Ever feel like you're just throwing money at exciting new technology only to watch it, well, fall flat? You are definitely not alone. In this explainer, we're going to break down why this happens so often, and more importantly, we'll get into what you can actually do to finally get the results you were promised. So, does this sound familiar? You sign on the dotted line for some cutting-edge AI platform, you're buzzing with optimism about what it's going to do for your business, but then 6 months down the line, nothing. You're not seeing the returns, and you just feel stuck. If that hits close to home, just know it's an incredibly common problem, and the solution is almost never about buying even more tech.
All right, so let's dive right in and talk about this giant gap between the promise of new technology and the day-to-day reality of trying to get it to work. This is where all the friction really starts.
And this really just lays it all out, doesn't it? On the one hand, the plan is beautiful. Instant results, smooth operations, amazing growth. But the reality? Delays, rework, and missed deadlines. You expect your new sales tool to double your team's output, but instead, they're stuck doing manual data entry and sales have actually dipped. That's the disconnect we're talking about. And here's the thing, this is rarely a failure of the technology itself. So if it's not the tech, what is it? Well, the real culprits are almost always hiding in plain sight, right inside your own organization. We're talking about two major forces here. Those legacy systems you've been patching together for years, and just good old-fashioned human resistance to change. These are the barriers we really need to understand.
So let's tackle the first, and honestly, often the biggest hurdle, the people. That mix of apprehension, doubt, and sometimes outright fear can create a massive adoption gap for even the most brilliant new tools. And it all starts right at the top. The leader who signs the check, they're constantly wondering if they're getting real, tangible value or if they just bought into some slick marketing hype. They're worried that if the team doesn't buy in, this whole major investment is just going to turn into a massive waste of time and money.
Then you've got your middle managers. Their worry is a little different, maybe a little more personal. They're concerned that a new, super efficient system is going to shine a bright spotlight on the kind of clunky workflows they've been responsible for. It's really a fear of exposure, that the new tech will reveal problems they've been trying to paper over for years.
And then, of course, there's the fear on the ground floor. The employees who actually have to use the new tool are worried about their jobs. They're asking themselves, is this thing going to automate my role away? Will I even be able to learn this new system? And without a clear path to rescale, that fear turns into resistance fast.
Okay, so we've talked about the human fears, but there's another saboteur at work here, one that operates in the shadows of your organization, your own systems.
The key concept we need to grasp is something called internal technical debt. Think of it like this. It's all the quick fixes, the outdated software, and the patched-together systems that you've built up over time. Each one probably seemed like a good idea in the moment, but now you're paying the price in inefficiency and gridlock. So how do you even spot this technical debt? Well, look for these red flags. Do you have different software platforms that just refuse to talk to each other? Are slow computers literally throttling your team's productivity? But the biggest, most telling sign of all, look at your staff. Are they constantly using spreadsheets to bridge the gaps between your main software? That right there is a classic symptom of a broken system. Ultimately, this is really what it all boils down to. When leadership, your tech team, and your day-to-day operations are all misaligned, the project is pretty much doomed before it even starts. Everybody has a different goal, a different understanding of the problem, and that misalignment just completely undermines any chance of real progress. All right, I know that all sounds pretty daunting, but here's the good news. Fixing these deep-rooted issues doesn't mean you have to do some massive, expensive, multi-year overhaul. The absolute key is to start small and build momentum with some focused wins.
So here's the framework. First up, do an honest audit. You can't fix what you don't really understand, so map out your actual workflows, not just the ones you think you have. Second, get your team involved and do it early. Their buy-in is your most valuable asset. Plus, they're the ones who know where the real problems are. Third, go for the quick wins. This builds momentum and it proves the value of the change, turning skeptics into believers. And finally, training. Don't just throw a new tool at them. Invest in making them absolute experts.
And look, here's one more super critical piece of advice. Give someone ownership of this thing. A new tool without a dedicated project lead will almost always stall out. You need one person who is truly accountable for bridging that gap between what the business wants and what's actually technically possible. Okay, so let's bring this all together. The ultimate goal here isn't just to install some new software. It's to make technology a genuine advantage for your organization. Just let that one sink in for a minute.
If a new tool is making work harder, creating more steps, or just causing confusion, something is fundamentally wrong. Successful tech adoption always makes work easier and smoother. It should really feel like a relief. And if you remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. You can buy the best software in the world, but if you don't address the human fears and fix the broken processes that surround it, you will never, ever see the return you're looking for. Success is about the whole picture. So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. Don't try to boil the ocean. Instead, think about your own business. What is the one single process, that one bottleneck, that would benefit the most from a small, focused improvement? Starting right there, that's how you finally turn a technology investment into a real win.